Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. Life is not over just because you're going through something. If you woke up this morning, God ain't done with you. You've still got purpose, still got power, still got time. But if you want something different, you have to do something different. You want to reset your life? You can. And let me tell you something that most people don't realize. You don't need a whole lifetime. You can reset your life in just 6 months. Cutting off distractions and limiting access is one of the hardest yet most powerful things you will ever do in your life. When you're on a mission to reset your life, you can't afford to keep the same noise around you. The people, the places, the habits, even the apps on your phone, they all influence who you are becoming. Some of you are stuck not because you don't have talent or purpose, but because you're constantly allowing access to people who drain your energy, question your vision, or keep you tied to a version of yourself you're trying to grow out of. When you want to elevate your life, everybody can't come with you. That's not being rude. That's not being arrogant. That's called protecting your progress. Some folks were only meant for a season, not a lifetime. And yet we keep handing out lifetime access to people who are only supposed to be in the balcony, not on the front row. See, you got to treat your life like a VIP event. Not everybody gets backstage passes. Some of these folks you're holding on to are the very reason your life feels stuck. Every time you try to move forward, they pull you back with their doubts, their fear, their drama, and their complacency. Let them go. You don't need permission to grow. You don't need approval to chase your goals. What you need is silence, focus, and a clean environment to rebuild yourself from the inside out. And that starts with eliminating the noise. That starts with telling yourself the truth. Some people are not rooting for you. They're just comfortable with your dysfunction because it makes them feel better about their own. You also have to be honest about your digital life, social media, endless scrolling, constant comparison. All that is noise. You can't focus on your journey when you're too busy watching everyone else's highlight reel. You want clarity in your mind, you want momentum in your grind. Put your phone down and pick your purpose up. There's no app more important than your peace. No DM more urgent than your destiny. Half the distractions you deal with daily are self-inflicted. You're feeding them with your attention, and attention is energy. Energy is your life force. You can't give that away carelessly. And let's not forget about your habits. Your habits either build you or break you. If you're trying to reset your life, but you're still waking up late, hitting snooze, eating poorly, surrounding yourself with gossip, skipping your goals, then you're sabotaging yourself every day in small, unnoticed ways. You don't need a dramatic change overnight. You need to start saying no to the things that no longer serve you. That's how you cut distractions. That's how you limit access. You become intentional with every decision, every interaction, every space you allow into your life. You become ruthless about your peace, because peace is the foundation of power. Without it, you will always live reactive instead of proactive. You have to take your power back by protecting what matters most: your mind, your time, your focus, your energy. Creating a non-negotiable morning routine is one of the most underrated ways to completely transform your life. The way you start your day shapes the tone, mindset, and energy for everything that follows. Too many people roll out of bed reacting to life, checking their phone, responding to messages, scrolling social media, before they've even said good morning to themselves, let alone to God. You have to flip that. You have to take control of your mornings if you ever want to take control of your life. Your morning needs to be sacred. It needs to be a space where you reconnect with yourself, with your purpose, with your creator. And it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need a 2-hour checklist or fancy equipment. What you need is consistency, discipline, and intention. Because what you do repeatedly, especially when no one's watching, becomes the foundation of your result. When you wake up earlier than you're used to, you take back time that most people waste. You claim those first moments of the day as yours, and that act alone builds self-respect. You start your day with prayer or meditation, and it centers you. You remind yourself that no matter what happens out there in the world, you have peace in here. You read something that fuels your mind, whether it's scripture, a self-help book, a quote, anything that lifts you up. You write down what you're grateful for because gratitude shifts your attitude. It reminds you that you're already blessed and keeps you from slipping into that mindset of lack. You visualize your goals, the version of you that you're becoming. You see it clearly. You feel it. You start embodying that person before you even leave the house. That is power. You move your body. You don't have to run a marathon. You just need to move. Do some stretches. Take a walk. Do a workout. Because your body holds energy, and energy needs to flow. You eat something that fuels you instead of drains you. You drink water before coffee because your body's been fasting all night, and hydration helps wake up your system. These small, intentional acts done every morning create an internal shift. They reprogram your mind to operate from a place of strength, not survival. But the key word here is non-negotiable. That means even on the days you don't feel like it, even on the days when you're tired, frustrated, or busy, you don't skip the routine. Because skipping your routine is skipping your reset, it's skipping your growth. Your discipline has to be stronger than your mood. Your commitment has to outlast your excuses. And here's what happens when you commit. Your confidence increases, your self-worth rises. You start to trust yourself more. You start to see results, not just in your productivity, but in your peace, in your clarity, in your ability to show up for yourself and for others. A solid morning routine is not about perfection. It's about creating a rhythm that serves you, anchors you, and reminds you daily that you're not who you used to be. You're becoming someone greater. Every single morning you choose discipline over delay. Setting small goals and staying consistent is one of the most powerful strategies you can use when you're trying to reset your life. See, a lot of people get overwhelmed because they try to change everything at once. They look at the mountain instead of focusing on the next step. They try to jump from where they are to where they want to be in one big leap, and when it doesn't happen quickly, they lose motivation. But progress doesn't work like that. Real transformation happens in the small, quiet moments when nobody's watching. It happens when you make the decision to just do one more rep, one more chapter, one more email, one more prayer. When you break your big goals down into smaller, manageable pieces, it gives you momentum. It helps you track your progress and stay motivated because you start to see results little by little. And those little wins, they add up. They build confidence. They build character. They show you that you can trust yourself to follow through. Discipline is more powerful than motivation. Motivation comes and goes. It's like a mood. It changes with the weather, with your energy, with your circumstances. But discipline, that's your foundation. Discipline is doing it even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is choosing your future over your feelings. If you only work when you're inspired, you'll never get anywhere. But if you work when it's hard, when it's boring, when it's uncomfortable, that's where the real growth happens. That's how you separate yourself from a crowd. That's how you start living with purpose instead of floating through life. Small goals keep you grounded. They give you something to aim at every single day. Maybe it's drinking more water. Maybe it's waking up 30 minutes earlier. Maybe it's walking for 10 minutes or writing for 15. Whatever it is, make it so clear and specific that there's no confusion about what success looks like. You don't say, I want to be healthier. You say, I'm going to cook dinner at home 4 nights this week. You don't say, I want to grow my business. You say, I'm going to contact 5 potential clients every day. That's how you build discipline. That's how you create momentum. You start small and you show up daily. And every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build integrity. You build trust. You start believing, truly believing, that you're capable of more. Consistency is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's the daily decision to move forward, no matter how small the step is. And yes, it's going to feel slow. Yes, there will be days when it feels like nothing is changing, but that's part of the process. That's where most people quit, and that's where you have to keep going. Because every time you choose consistency over comfort, you're building something stronger than a result. You're building a lifestyle. You're creating habits that align with the person you want to become. You're proving to yourself that you don't need to wait for a new year, a perfect moment, or someone else's approval to change your life. You just need to start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can every single day. Working in silence and letting the results speak is a mindset that separates dreamers from doers. In a world where everyone wants to be seen, validated, and applauded, there is something powerful about moving in quiet, focused determination. When you stop announcing every move and start focusing on execution, you create a different kind of momentum. You protect your energy. You keep distractions and unnecessary opinions out of your creative space. Most people fail not because they don't have the ability, but because they get caught up in the noise. They talk more than they work. They seek attention more than they seek progress. But real growth happens in the shadows. Real breakthroughs happen when no one is clapping for you, but you show up anyway. When you're not posting about it, but you're building it. When you're not explaining it, but you're becoming it. That's when the transformation starts to take root in a way that's unshakable. There's a kind of freedom that comes with working in silence. You don't owe anyone updates. You're not on a timeline created by others. You move at your pace in your lane, on your mission. You stop looking sideways and start looking forward. And something amazing happens when you do that. You stop performing for others and start building for yourself. You learn to love the process, not just the outcome. Because the truth is, the process is where you grow. The results are just a reflection of the work you did when nobody was watching. That quiet grind, that early morning effort, that late night sacrifice, those are the bricks that build your success. And when the results show up, they'll speak louder than any announcement you could have made. They'll speak with clarity, with confidence, with undeniable truth. That's the kind of impact that doesn't need validation. Silence gives you space to focus. It clears the mental clutter. When you're not trying to impress people, you're free to improve yourself. You're not concerned with what looks good. You're locked in on what works. You learn to trust your intuition. You learn to enjoy your own company. You start to understand that not everyone needs to know your plan. Some things are sacred. Some visions are too fragile to share in their early stages. And not because you're scared, but because you're wise. Because you know that energy is real, and not every listener is a supporter. Some are doubters. Some are jealous. Some are just curious with no intention of encouraging you. So instead of sharing your blueprint, you build it quietly, consistently. Working in silence also builds patience. You stop chasing instant results and start playing the long game. You stop measuring your success by how quickly it comes and start valuing how deeply it's rooted. You learn that slow growth is strong growth, that private victories lead to public success, that when you water your seeds in silence, your harvest will speak volumes. And when it does, no one will be able to deny the work you put in. Because by the time they see it, it's already done. Forgive, release, and let go is a truth that many people hear but few actually live. Holding on to pain, resentment, betrayal, and regret is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. When you hold on to bitterness, you're not punishing the person who hurt you, you're punishing yourself. You carry that weight in your heart, in your thoughts, in your spirit. It affects the way you see the world, the way you treat people, and most importantly, the way you treat yourself. Forgiveness is not about saying what they did was okay. It's not about forgetting the pain. It's about deciding that your peace matters more than your past. It's about choosing freedom over bondage. Because you can't fully step into your future if you're still emotionally and spiritually chained to what happened yesterday. Letting go is a process, not a one-time event. Some days you'll feel like you're over it, and then something will remind you, and the pain will come rushing back. That's normal. Healing is not linear. But every time you choose peace over retaliation, every time you resist the urge to replay the situation in your mind, you're making progress. Releasing doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise. It means you've learned that holding on is costing you too much. Your energy, your time, your sleep, your joy, none of that is worth sacrificing for a grudge. You have dreams to chase, goals to accomplish, and a life to live. You don't have time to stay stuck in a story that no longer serves you. Sometimes the person you need to forgive is yourself. Maybe you made some mistakes. Maybe you stayed too long, trusted the wrong person, or missed an opportunity. And now you're stuck in guilt, punishing yourself for what you can't change. But here's the truth. You did the best you could with what you knew at the time. You're growing now, you're learning, you're evolving. Stop beating yourself up for being human. Give yourself the same grace you try to give others. Because healing requires kindness, not just for others, but for yourself too. Releasing pain also means releasing the need for closure. Some people will never apologize. Some situations will never make sense. Some relationships won't get a proper ending, and that's okay. Closure is not something you get from others. It's something you give yourself. It's the moment you stop waiting for an explanation and start choosing peace anyway. It's the moment you decide to stop rehearsing the pain and start writing a new story. One where you're not the victim anymore, but the survivor, the fighter, the one who chose to rise when they had every reason to stay broken. Letting go isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about choosing not to carry it forward. It's about creating space for new blessings, new energy, new beginnings. When your heart is full of pain, there's no room for peace. When your hands are holding grudges, there's no room to receive what's next. Forgiveness clears the path. Release clears the soul. Speaking life over yourself daily is one of the most transformative habits you can build when you're trying to reset your life. Your words are powerful. They're not just sounds, they're seeds. Every word you speak over your life plants something in your mind, in your spirit, in your future. And whatever you keep planting, that's what will grow. If you keep telling yourself you're not good enough, not smart enough, not capable, then don't be surprised when you start living like it. But when you begin each day speaking strength, faith, confidence, and purpose over yourself, you begin to shift your internal environment. You begin to align your thoughts with your potential instead of your past. You begin to speak the life you want into existence, even if you can't see it yet. The world already throws enough negativity your way. People will doubt you, criticize you, judge you, and misunderstand you. But the voice that will impact you the most is your own. What you say to yourself when you wake up in the morning and look in the mirror matters more than what anyone else says about you. That inner dialogue becomes your atmosphere. It shapes your beliefs, and your beliefs shape your behavior. So when you speak life over yourself, you're not just saying nice things, You're setting the tone for how you move through the day, how you show up in the world, and how you respond to challenges. Affirmations are not magic, but they are mental training. Just like you train your body in the gym, you got to train your mind every single day. You have to interrupt negative patterns and replace them with empowering truths. Instead of waking up saying, I'm tired, I'm stuck, nothing's changing, you say, I am equipped, I am focused, I am becoming better every day. You speak with authority over your life. You remind yourself who you are, not who your fear says you are, not who your past says you are, but who your purpose says you are. And you say it even when it feels awkward. You say it even when you don't fully believe it yet, because your spirit hears it. Your subconscious receives it. And over time, it becomes real. You also have to learn to speak life in the middle of chaos. It's easy to speak positive when everything's going well. But the real power shows up when you can speak hope in the middle of hopelessness. When you can say, this season is tough, but I'm tougher. When you can declare, I might be going through the storm, but I'm not going to live in it forever. That's when your words become weapons. That's when your voice becomes your armor. You start speaking not from a place of where you are, but from a place of where you're going. And that shifts everything. Daily declarations are a reset button for your soul. They center you. They ground you. They push back against the lies the world tries to throw at you. And eventually you start to become what you consistently declare. You start walking different, thinking different, making decisions that align with your higher self. Speaking life is not a one-time thing. It's a daily discipline, a mental habit, a spiritual strategy that creates emotional stability and internal strength.